Well. Clemson Tiger fans, college football fans, welcome back to another episode of the All In Show, powered by FanDuel. Thank you guys so much for being in here tonight. Really do appreciate each and every one of you. The portal is on fire in Clemson, South Carolina. We got a ton, and I do mean a ton of commits to go through tonight, talk about them, what they did at their previous stop, how we think they will fit in with this Clemson Tiger football team in 2026 and what they're going to bring to the table and how they'll improve the team. We'll talk about that and more in tonight's episode. But before we get into tonight's show, couple of housekeeping things. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button for us. Really do appreciate it. It helps the channel out. It's free. And we are so close, guys. So very close to that 6,000 subscriber mark. So I trust that you guys will help us out with that. Hit that like button. Really helps us out on these live videos. Again, it's free and it helps support the show and it helps get our videos out to a larger audience. Appreciate your help with that. Also, we have channel memberships. If you'd like to join the show and support on a monthly basis, hit that join button right below this video. Consider becoming a channel member. And then last but certainly not least, towards the end of the show, as you guys know, me and Jordan will get to the comment section for as long as we possibly can. We can't get to all the comments, so if you want to be sure that your comment and or question is read and responded to during this live episode, please hit that super chat feature. We'll be sure to respond, and thank you for supporting the show. With all of that said, and without further ado, back fresh from vacation, our very own Jordan Bowman. What's up, brother? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing wonderful, man. It's always hard coming back from vacation and getting back into the swing of things with work and everything in real life. I got to forget about everything for a week, so that was nice. Of course, I still couldn't keep my eyes off my phone. Still checking portal updates, Clemson. Y'all, I'm sure y'all saw me live tweeting even from the cruise ship. He had paid for the premium Wi-Fi and everything. You do what you got to do. You do what you got to do. Man, I'm just so glad to be back. I was able to catch the show last week with you and Brian. Shout out to him over at Clemson Football Live. Man, he just does a phenomenal job. It's kind of crazy. It's like um, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like Alex Caruso, getting sat on the bench, and then you pull LeBron James. Like that's kind of what that felt like. So you guys did an awesome job last week. I was like, dang, I might as well not come back. Maybe I can stay a little bit longer, but not. That would have been really expensive.
Yeah, we need you back here in your rightful place as a part of the All In crew here at the Voice of College Football. Again, presented by FanDuel. Jordan, how about this basketball team? Before we get into any football talk or really get into the scheduled portion of the show, how about this basketball team, man? They've been balling out. I know that basketball is one of your big time sports that you really enjoy watching. They've played great, ranked 22 in the country, currently battling Boston College right now, having a really, really strong season so far. So tell us a little bit about this basketball team and this game tonight.
Yeah, man, they're really on fire. I mean, it's a lot of fun to watch. This team has not many holes, man. It's a very complete roster. I think Brad Brownell has just done a good job this year. I mean, and really, this is I want to emphasize to folks, like, this is really the best time in Clemson basketball history right now. I mean, the last 3 years or so, I mean, this program has never been on a run like it is right now. They've won 11 straight conference road games. That's third in the country. That's the third longest active streak in the country. They are, doing a lot of great things. They rarely lose at home now. This is a true ACC contender, and Brad Brownell has, I think the administration has given him time, and you're seeing the fruits of it. I mean, now with the advent of NIL and Brad himself doing a lot of the legwork as far as building a base of supporters he's got a whole base of Clemson basketball NIL supporters, and that's pretty incredible. And it's why this program is so successful, because he's getting the support. They're currently all over Boston College right now. Our friends over at FanDuel have them live betting. It's minus 23.5 the spread. So and Clemson is currently up 21. So I mean, y'all should go check out that action if you want. But man, it's been great just to watch this team develop. And I mean, shout out to Nick Davidson, man, having the game of his life. They got him with some foul trouble in the second half. Probably not going to hit the 40-point mark that he was on pace for. But I really, really am excited to see him finally go off. So man, I'm just really excited watching this basketball team. Excited about what the potential for this team. Clearly one of the best teams in the ACC. So we'll see how they continue to play, throughout.
Yeah, absolutely, man. They've been balling out so far this season. I'm excited to see it. I think Brad Brownell kind of has really started to hit his stride since NIL and the transfer portal. He's done a great job at, evaluating talent in the portal and getting it to Clemson. Had a record-setting season last year as far as wins goes. We'll see if he can kind of build upon that this year and maybe make a little bit of a tournament run. That would be really fun to watch for the Clemson basketball team. But currently up 54-35, so I think they'll be able to close this one out, Jordan, and get another win under their belt this season. So not to worry there.
Well, I mean, I would think so. That's the one thing that we have seen this team do is blow a couple leads in recent memory. Haven't lost all of them, but obviously that BYU game sticks out like a sore thumb. I mean, but this is Boston College. I definitely don't expect that level of collapse, but you never know, especially when Brad Brownell is going at it with his former assistant Earl Grant. BC is always kind of a weird game for Clemson in particular, even when they're not particularly good. But it looks like Clemson's in control of this one.
Yeah. It appears that they are, but yes, they have made several games this season a lot closer than they should have been towards or down the stretch. So hopefully that's not in the cards tonight. One, for your blood pressure, and two, for the show. It'd be good to see them maintain that lead and while we're doing our thing on the show here. But welcome back. I'm glad you had a great vacation. It's good to have you back. It was fun doing the show with Brian last week, but it's good to have my old partner in crime back here from sailing the high seas. Glad
Yes,
you made it
sir.
back okay. So
Absolutely, man. Happy to be back, brother.
there's some people in the chat pretending like they don't know who you are anymore. You missed one show and they're like,
Yeah.
hey, new number, who this?
Yep. I completely went off the grid.
Yeah.
The time has forgotten me.
That's right.
It's like one of those sci-fi. It's like one of those sci-fi movies where like there's this region that you go to where time moves differently than everywhere else, and you come back and it's like 50 years have passed and everything's changed. That's what it feels like right now. Isaac doesn't recognize me anymore. It is what it is. I'll have to start over with you guys. So I'm Jordan. I'm the co-host of this show. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, for sure. Gotta build up the reputation again.
Yep.
As soon as you miss a show, it's all over. Starting over from square one. So, but no, it is good to have you back. But Jordan, we got a ton of portal players to talk about tonight. So let's go ahead and dive into it tonight.
Let's do it.
We can get to the comment section at the end of the show and chop it up with our people. So, well, Jordan, as I started the top of the show with, the portal is on fire in Clemson, South Carolina, currently sitting at 10 recruits, just a couple days left. I think Friday the portal closes as far as entries. That doesn't mean you can't bring anyone on after that, but no one can enter the portal after that. Clemson has quite the haul, mainly on defense. 9 of the 10 players they've brought in so far have been on the defensive side of the ball. That should surprise no one if you're paying attention in Clemson, South Carolina. This defense is a defense that struggled mightily this season, and there were a ton of holes from players going to the NFL to graduation to just you needed to upgrade at certain positions, just being very frank about it. So 9 of the 10 transfer portals gets so far for the Tigers have been on the defensive side of the ball. Just one singular one we'll talk about at the end on the offensive side of the ball. Really exciting player there. But we're going to kind of go in chronological order, Jordan, to when these players committed. We haven't done kind of a player-by-player segment about the Clemson portal commits so far. So tonight is the best night to do it. I know the people have been waiting on it, so we're going to dive into it. We're going to start with defensive tackle commit Courtney Kelly out of West Georgia. Had 313 snaps in 2025. 6'3", 281 pounds. Finished the season with 17 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, and 1 fumble recovery. He comes in with 3 years of eligibility left for his college career. So, Jordan, your thoughts on Courtney Kelly? This defensive tackle position is definitely something that we needed to address with the exit of Stephylon Green and others like, DeMonte Capehart, Peter Woods through graduation and moving on to the NFL. So your thoughts on Courtney Kelly and how he fits in this defensive tackle room and what his projection looks like for the 2026 season.
Yeah, I mean, you hit on it. I mean, this defensive tackle group, I mean, one of the strengths of this program for a long time. Obviously, this is a year where, coming in, you're pretty lean with the departures. Peter Woods being a stalwart 3-year starter, DeMonte Capehart being a strong rotation piece, sometimes starter throughout his career. I mean, it's tough to lose, but then you compound that with the fact that you're the heir apparent for next season it already started 6 games this year, and Stephylon Green, he decides to hit the transfer portal. That was pretty disappointing. Not the most surprising thing if that was always kind of on the radar, even since last year. He's been a highly sought after player. And he eventually the offers got, too good to refuse. And he decides to to hit the portal. So I mean, that's three guys that you considered starters, just out of your room, just like that. And it was important to replenish that group, because now I mean, your defensive tackle room is a lot of guys that are unproven. Amari Adams and Vic Burley, Champ Thompson, Heaven Brown Schuler. It's just not a lot of guys that have played a ton. And so it was important to get a guy that had some production, that you felt like could come in and push the guys and create competition in that room. And I think Courtney Kelly does that. Out of West Georgia, not the biggest guy. He's a little bit undersized. That's one thing that I'll be interested to see when he comes in, is how he fits in on the interior, just because he's not the near 300 pounds that you would want at defensive tackle. But he makes up for it with his motor. He's extremely physical, even without the lack of size. I guess the real question is just, how does that translate, being from West Georgia, going all the way up to the ACC and Power 4, and how his game translates. But I think it's a really good pickup, a guy that has production where he's been, and can immediately create some competition in your room. So excited to see where he fits in this group.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jordan, I'm going to stick with the defensive tackle group and just kind of go from front to back on the defense. I think that makes the most sense tonight. Coming in, another defensive tackle we brought on, Oklahoma transfer, going into old Brent Venables' defensive tackle room over there, and grabbing Marcus Strong from Oklahoma, a guy that has had some pretty significant injuries in his career that have kind of derailed his playing time. 6'3", 297 pounds, had 7 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack, and 1 safety in the 2025 season. Only played a little over 100 snaps this season. Again, coming off of an entire season of injury in 2024. Still got 2 years of eligibility, though. So your thoughts on Marcus Strong? How does he fit into this defensive tackle room? And some of the returning guys that we have, plus the Kelly, the defensive tackle that we brought in from West Georgia.
Yeah, Marcus Strong is a kid that Oklahoma thought really highly of, and still did, even when he entered the portal. As you mentioned, the injury history has been the thing that's hampered him, and I think it's a good take for Clemson. I think it makes a lot of sense. Just because I think he can come in and potentially compete for a starting job right away, as long as he's healthy, because I do think he is a really talented football player. The limited snaps he's played, he's shown some really nice flashes throughout his career, and you possibly get multiple years of playing time out of him. I think it's a good deal all around. I did find it funny, the Oklahoma fans that were like, just kind of appalled, and they were like clutching their pearls because Clemson went and got a transfer from them. Like they were accusing Clemson of tampering, all sorts of things. I found that a little silly. Like I guess the truce is off or whatever. And I was like, what? The truce has been off. I mean, Brent Venables was. Oklahoma was actively trying to entice TJ Moore into the transfer portal. Like, what? I mean, what are we talking about? Like There hasn't been a truce there for a while. I mean, they've been going after the same recruits. It's not. I don't know. I don't know where they got that from. But I found that funny. But you can tell by the fans' reactions that they were upset. I think that tells you a lot about the player you're getting. He could potentially be a really good football player for you. So makes a lot of sense for Clemson. I love the take. Yeah, absolutely. It's always refreshing when a fan base is not happy and up in arms about losing a player, right? Much like us losing Stephylan Green. LSU got themselves a dog over there. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're going to have to see him week 1. We know how good he is. We know how good of a player they got. And I think vice versa, same thing here with Strong. And I think he's going to be a key piece to that defensive tackle room that frankly, exiting 2025 had a lot of holes. I mean, we lost a ton of experience and production in that room, and adding a guy like Strong that's been around for a little while in college,
He has dealt with some injury, but he's got a ton of potential, man. So I'm excited to have him in the fold. I think he's going to be a big key to Clemson's defense on the interior of that defensive line in 2026. So good for us. Sticking with the defensive line, Jordan, we're going to go out to the edge. We got 2 edge rushers via the transfer portal as well. So 2 defensive tackles, 2 edge rushers. First one committing out of Colorado, London Merritt from the Atlanta area. Got 25 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 1 sack. 3 years of eligibility left for him as well. So kind of a trend for Clemson. They're getting guys with multiple years of eligibility. Hopefully you can hang on to those guys and get more than 1 season out of them. Your thoughts on London and how he fits in this defensive end room? Again, a room that lost TJ Parker. Obviously, he didn't play as well as we needed him to the past 2 seasons, but still a very experienced defensive end that you lost with a lot of production. You had a couple of maybe rotation guys like Denoff graduate, run out of eligibility. You got Will Helt there. You got Jaheim Lawson. Those are your 2 kind of main guys coming back on the edge. So how does Merritt fit in this rotation? What do you think his outlook is for the 2020 season on the edge position for Clemson?
Yeah, I mean, London is a guy that I think flashed a lot of potential at Colorado. Guy that had, worked his way into the lineup pretty early. Former blue chip prospect, top 100 kid in the 2025 class. Again, I mean, you mentioned it. This is a take where you get multiple years of eligibility. A guy that I think is still kind of scratching the surface of kind of his potential, but I think he showed a lot in 2025. And I think it makes a lot of sense for Clemson to bring a guy in to kind of, compete in that room. I mean, you mentioned you have your established guys in Will Held and Jaheim Lawson, but it's good to have a piece like that and take some of the pressure and also put pressure on guys like Darian Mayo and some of the younger guys in this room. So it makes a lot of sense as a take. I think he's a guy that's going to come in and play for you right away. Again, another take that makes a lot of sense and, is actively going to make this room better. A defensive end room that has certainly taken some hits over the last few years in terms of quality, throughout the room. So, excited for this piece. Think he's a guy that can develop into a really, really strong player for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be a good piece for the Tigers to have in 2026 on that edge position. All right, another edge guy, defensive end, CJ Wesley out of Howard, coming over from the Bison, a guy that played a ton of snaps last season, had 5 sacks on the season. So a guy that really gets after the quarterback, 2 forced fumbles on the year, got just a singular year of eligibility. So he's going to be looking to get on the field, make a big impact at Clemson. A guy that has gotten better year over year. Just kind of looking at his kind of stats and his production at Howard, he's gotten better every single year that he's played college football. That's always good. That's a guy that's been developing. That's a guy that's working. And when he's stepping up, this is a guy stepping up from a lower level. He's going to be hungry. He's going to be looking to prove himself. And I think that's always a recipe for a pretty good player that you're getting out of the transfer portal. So your thoughts on Wesley and how he's going to fit into this edge room?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is another piece that bolsters the depth in the room. I mean, I'm interested to see where he fits into the rotation ultimately. I really like his game. I think he shows a lot of quickness and athleticism on tape. Again, always tough to judge, but I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, you had a prior connection. Shout out to Artavis Scott for hooking us up with this one.
That's right.
You don't remember he is the wide receivers coach over there at Howard. So it made a lot of sense. Again, I think he's a guy that's going to come in hungry to prove himself and push the rest of the guys in this room. I think you're creating some real competition, even if he's a guy that doesn't even end up playing much for you. So I think it only helps rather than hurts. I think the staff, I think Dabo is going to see the benefits of takes like this. Wet Sox says HBCU to Clemson pipeline needs to become a mainstay. Hey, man, I'd be all down for it. They certainly need to. The HBCUs put out a ton of great talent every year, and I mean, you see other programs going and snatching them up. So I'd be all for it. But yeah, I think Wesley brings a lot of potential to the table. Even in his one season, I think he can bring a lot of competition in this room. So again, like the take, don't have too many complaints. It's probably going to be a trend. There's not really a take that Clemson has had so far that I'm like, that I just flat out don't like. So spoiler alert.
Yeah, I mean, look, Clemson's attacked the portal in a way that you would expect them to attack the portal. They've gone after positions of need, places where the roster needs to be upgraded, places where you need more depth, right? And that started along the defensive line, and it's going to continue throughout every level of the defense. Cornerback, safety, linebacker, we got it all coming in. Transitioning away from the defensive line to the linebacker position, Jordan. And we got a great linebacker in Sammy Brown. But you need somebody to step in. He cannot do it all himself. And boy, did Clemson land one here, Jordan. Transfer out of Cal, Luke Farrelly, ACC freshman, defensive freshman of the year. If you remember just a season ago, that was Sammy Brown. Now it's Luke Farrelly. We got both of them in the middle part of our defense now, going sideline to sideline, disrupting defenses. I'm excited about this guy. He's got 3 years of eligibility, had 90 tackles last season, 5 tackles for loss, 1 interception, a guy that's very athletic. He's fast. He's all over the field. He plays a ton of snaps. He's got good instincts. I think Clemson knocked it out of the park. I mean, you talk about a linebacker tandem and Sammy Brown and Luke Farrelly. It don't get much better than that. So I'm really excited about it. But your thoughts on Luke Farrelly and what he's going to bring to this Clemson Tiger defense in 2026?
Yeah, man. I mean, this is honestly like Wade Woodaz 2.0. Like, I think if you could make like a more athletic version of Wade Woodaz, this is what you got. And Luke Farrelly. I mean, I love the take for a lot of reasons. I mean, obviously the athleticism jumps out on tape. A guy that flies all over the field. A guy that can give you some really good snaps and coverage, but also is just an extremely instinctual and smart linebacker. I mean, played under a really good defensive coach in Justin Wilcox. He was fired this year, but I think honestly he doesn't get enough credit. And the defenses that Cal has had and the players they've put out, they've made some really they know how to recruit some really smart football players. So I mean, this makes all the sense in the world in Tom Allen's defense. I'm excited to see him and Sammy Brown. We gotta. I saw somebody call them the line crackers, and that had me giggling. But man, I think there's not going to be a much better linebacker tandem in the ACC next year if Farrelly takes that next step, as well as Sammy Brown. I think they could be lethal together. Just all over the backfield. I'm excited to see them play.
Yeah, absolutely, man. They're going to be quite the tandem. I don't know if that nickname will stick, but it is certainly hilarious. And Twitter is undefeated when it comes to stuff like that, man. It's always gonna be undefeated with stuff like that. But Luke Farrelly, welcome to Clemson, South Carolina. We're happy to have you. And man, I couldn't be more excited about our linebacking core coming back next season, especially those 2 starting guys. That's going to be quite the core to watch next season. But transitioning into the secondary, as we know, Jordan, you don't have to go back and watch any game in 2025 to know the inconsistency that was the Clemson defense on the back end, both at safety and cornerback. There were times where they played well. There were times where it looked like they didn't know what they were doing on the field. So obviously, at the safety and the cornerback position are positions of need. We lost players to the transfer portal. We lost players to the NFL. You needed to infuse some talent in there. You needed to get some guys that kind of fit what Tom Allen wants to do on the back end of that defense, and that wasn't the case last year. So they hit the transfer portal hard. First cornerback they bring in is Penn State transfer. I wonder why that happened. Played under Tom Allen. Elliott Washington II, elite speed guy, super fast, good coverage guy, 18 tackles, 3 pass breakups, 1 interception, got 1 year left of eligibility, but super excited to have him. Obviously, he's familiar with Tom Allen, familiar with the type of defense that he likes to run. So the learning curve there is not going to be very steep at all for him. Your thoughts on Elliott and what he is going to bring to this cornerback room?
Yeah, man, I think you potentially brought in a co-starter at cornerback in Elliott Washington. He's a guy he's played a lot of football, and I think he brings a lot more speed to the cornerback room, as you mentioned. I mean, he's been stated he runs a 4.3. We'll see if that shows up truly on when he gets on the field. But watching him on tape, he really can run. So I don't know if it will translate to 4.3, but you definitely more speed than you had in the defensive backfield last year. So really excited to see him play. Just a guy that's familiar with Tom Allen's defense, having been a starter at times, a rotation piece at others. But I think he comes in and is immediately one of your starters. I think I don't have too much doubt about that, and I think you desperately need it with the departure of Avion Terrell and a lot of question marks behind, deeper in that cornerback room. So, great take for this defense, for this defensive backfield, this defensive secondary. You need corners that can run. You just too many times the guys were slow, and it just can't have it in this defense. Can't have it, and especially with the skill talent in the ACC getting better, the offenses in the ACC getting better, and especially if you want to get back to the playoff, you're certainly going to play plenty of guys at the skill positions that can run. So you need to have corners and safeties that can do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. This guy is a welcome addition to the secondary. Like I said, elite speed, definitely something that was needed. You got the exit of Avion Terrell. You got the inconsistency of that secondary, as I stated in 2025. You got Ashton Hampton coming back. He was a guy that again was inconsistent. As well as he played at times, he was inconsistent. So you look for him to take another step forward. Elliott Washington quite possibly starting opposite him, and then kind of what does your depth look like? Brandon Strozer's a guy that struggled immensely at times last season. Both at coverage and tackling at different points in the season. Played pretty well against Penn State in the bowl game, but again, you gotta have more consistency out of those guys, and I think that's been one of the biggest issues in the secondary. You see flashes from a lot of guys. It's not enough, right? So a welcomed piece in Elliott Washington to the Clemson roster. Welcome to Clemson, South Carolina. We look forward to seeing you don that tiger paw on your helmet and do big things for Clemson in 2026. All right, second quarterback of the portal class, Donovan Starr, transfer out of Auburn. Again, another track guy, another guy that is super athletic, 3 years of eligibility, ranked top 20 cornerback in high school as a prospect, right? Did not play very much, right? He was a freshman, only got, I think, 18 snaps, 20 snaps, somewhere in there during his freshman campaign, so really didn't play. Obviously, a guy that has, I think, a high ceiling. He's got a lot of potential. Obviously, you got 3 years with him, hopefully, at least multiple years with him. What are your thoughts on Donovan Starr, how he's going to contribute to this Clemson secondary at the cornerback position? Or are we going to see him at nickel? Are we going to see him at quarterback? Where is Donovan Starr going to fit in on this Clemson defense, Jordan?
Yeah, I think that's the big question. The background with him, obviously, if those that aren't familiar, that don't follow Clemson recruiting closely, he was a Clemson target at one point during his high school recruitment. And, even got him in for an official visit. So he was very familiar with the Clemson program. He actually committed before he even took his visit to Clemson because he was familiar with Clemson. And that's one thing that I always felt like I always talked about, when we would have these discussions in the past about Clemson's portal efforts, is like why they don't spin back on guys that they missed on the first time around. I think it would make a lot of sense. I mean, you already have a leg up in terms of relationship building and all that. They're already familiar with the program, especially those guys that have visited. I think it makes a lot of sense. And so they went and did that with Donovan Starr. And I mean, it's a guy that Mike Reed thought really highly of coming out of high school. As you mentioned, the speed is absolutely legit. The kid can run. Obviously, just the fine tuning his game from the technical aspects of playing corner, I think, is going to be the biggest thing for him. I definitely think he could. Him and really, I think that Elliott Washington bring a little bit of versatility in the cornerback room. It wouldn't surprise me if you saw either one of them at nickel. So, I think it makes a lot of sense from that standpoint. But you mentioned the 3 years of eligibility. I think you really do have something, a really strong mold, or I guess mold of clay to work with for 3 years, hopefully at least 2 to 3 years. And I think he could potentially develop into a really nice player for you. Interested to see how quickly he acclimates himself. Does he work his way into the rotation soon? Is he going to supplant guys like Brandon Strozer? I don't know. I do think Brandon Strozer came on a little bit. We'll see. But it's too early to tell. But again, you did bring in some help there, that you desperately needed, and some. Obviously, some higher caliber athleticism and speed at the position. So, never a bad thing.
Yeah, no, obviously never a bad thing. Definitely a position of need for us, and a guy that it brings a bit of a different athleticism to that position group. I think that's important. I think our two guys that we got are solid pickups. Definitely needed in that secondary. You need rotation pieces. You need guys that can roll in there, and you get minimal drop off, right? And really, the only guy that you got as a definite starter right now is Ashton Hampton. Outside of that, you got a bunch of question marks. So moving right along to the safety group, Jordan got 2 safeties in this portal class, and then we will get to our sole offensive player. I know everybody wants to hear about him, but first the safeties. First safety to commit in this class, a guy that's had a couple stops, started out at Marshall, ended up at Southern Miss, and now he is going to be a Clemson Tiger. Corey Merrick, 91 tackles on the season, 4.5 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, and 1 forced fumble, 2 years of eligibility left. What a stat line. This guy's all over the field. He's making tons of tackles. He's a gamer, man. So your thoughts on Corey and what he's going to look like with that tiger paw on his helmet playing in this Tom Allen system?
Yeah, man. I think this was a great take for the safety room. I think he brings a different level of edge. I mean, you mentioned he flies around the field. He's a headhunter. The guy is always looking to make a big hit. I think this is a take that makes a lot of sense and brings a lot of edge to this room that you didn't have last year for much of the season.
Yeah.
So I think it makes a lot of sense. Charlie Huff was a guy, I think is a really good football coach. I mean, he was, he was so high on Corey that he brought him over from Marshall to Southern Miss. So I think that tells you a lot, especially for a defensive guy, that you're getting a really, really good football player. So I definitely think you brought him in to be a starter or the equivalent in terms of snap count. Because I think you needed it, and he brings a lot of length. And like I said, just that physicality that you just didn't have at safety last year.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned a couple things that we've heard Tom Allen talk about in several press conferences, right? Talking about Corey. And specifically his skill set, right? You mentioned length, speed, and just overall aggression at the safety position, right? This is a guy that makes receivers think about it, right? He's a guy, like you said, a headhunter, always looking to make a big hit. And that's the mindset you got to have there, and that's something that Clemson's defense lacked in 2025. So you're bringing in guys that are bringing a lot of length, a lot of speed, and bringing in that aggressiveness, that hunger, that want to separate that receiver from that football. That type of mentality, I think he brings that, and that's something that was sorely lacking in Clemson's defense in 2025. So a much welcome addition to the Clemson Tiger defense, and he's going to get a lot of burn in 2026, no doubt about it. All right, last portal commit for the Clemson Tigers so far on the defensive side of the ball is safety Jerome Allen out of Old Dominion. This is a guy that had 6 interceptions last season, tied for second most nationally. So a guy that's a ball magnet. He's doing what he needs to do. He's reading the quarterback's eyes. He's jumping routes. He is being disruptive when it comes to the passing game. 2 years of eligibility left. Your thoughts on Jerome Allen, how he will fit in this Clemson safety room that is obviously in need of players like him?
Yeah, Jerome Carter.
Jerome Carter.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's my bad. Jerome Carter.
You're good. I was like, who? No, but yeah, absolutely. Jerome Carter III out of Old Dominion. I mean, yeah, one of the best coverage safeties in all of college football last year. Obviously, the forcing turnovers, something that he did at a really, really high level. I mean, it's a great replacement for Ricardo Jones, who also had his fair share of interceptions last year. In fact, I think they had the same amount of interceptions last year with 6.
They did. Yep. They were both tied. Yep.
Yep. And I think Carter brings that length that you didn't have, that Ricardo Jones, quite frankly, just didn't bring. I think that's one of the things that jumps out to me is, I mean, he's 6'1", 190, but you feel like with his reach, he's closer to 6'5", 6'6", and just that level of ranginess is what you wanted in a safety, and what Tom Allen emphasized in his press conferences, talking about what he needed in this defense. I think Jerome Carter is everything and more that you need in this defense and in this defensive backfield. A guy that can play the pass, can come down and tackle, is lengthy, but also can run. I think he's a pretty complete football player. That think he's a bona fide day one starter for you. I mean, I think that's what you brought him in to do. All conference player. These are the types of players that Clemson was always able to get, but refused to really put a whole lot of effort in. Minus a few examples. No more. Tom Allen said, "Nope, we're absolutely getting that." So. Really excited to see Jerome Carter III in this defense, in the safety room that just desperately needed some life, because the guys you have right now, at least you had last year, just haven't really cut it. And I'm not out on guys like Ronan Hannafin, because I think at times he played well. And for a guy that just made that transition, this past season, I mean, I think it says a lot that he's able to work his way as a starter pretty much. But now you don't have to ask him to be a superstar. I mean, you brought in 2 guys that can come and give you a lot of really, really good play. And I think that's I think that's really, really important. And also, it takes a lot of pressure off of a guy like Polo Anderson coming in as a true freshman, who I think the world of.
Right.
But now he can come in and not have to be a guy that has to be the savior of your safety room, because God, man, the play last year, just I can't watch that again.
No, it was downright terrible. I mean, it was awful. It was hard to watch. And yeah, to your point, you have some guys in there that have some experience, that are going to give you a much higher level of production on the field, and you can bring along those guys like Ronan Hannafin. Like Ronan Hannafin still has a lot to learn about the safety position. Now, he's a physical guy. He's a high effort guy, but he's still got a lot to learn about the safety position. Same thing with Polo. You don't want that guy coming in with the pressure of like, you got to start day one because we don't got anybody else at safety, right? He can sit back. He can develop. He can, slowly get into his career at Clemson because you bring in these transfers that are going to allow you that flexibility and that opportunity to develop your other guys while still getting high production on the field with some of the portal guys that you brought in. So I think overall, my opinion, I think the Clemson defensive staff, Tom Allen and his coaches did an amazing job retooling this defense. They essentially rebuilt this entire defense. There's more portal names on this defense right now that are probably going to receive significant playing time than were on the roster last year by a long shot. You got two, you bring in two defensive tackles, you bring in two edge guys, you bring in a linebacker, you bring in two cornerbacks and two safeties for a total of 9 so far in the transfer portal for the defensive side of the football. Again, they might not be done. There's still time left to add a piece or two wherever they think they might need. But Jordan, just looking back at it now, those 9 people, those 9 players that we just talked about, what would you grade Tom Allen and his staff on kind of rebuilding that defense and making it look a ton different in the 2026 season than it did in 2025? Your thoughts on the work that they've done so far in the portal?
Yeah, I think I have to give it a pretty strong B+ to A-. I don't have too many complaints with this portal class. I think they did a really good job of retooling this group. I can't give it much more than that because they didn't get. I don't think they got a bona fide superstar out of the portal out of any of these guys. But I think you got a really good mix of guys that have quality production at their previous stops and guys with some long-term upside. And I think it's a good mix that can, just can infuse some life in a defense that just needed some. I mean, and they're not devoid of talent, the homegrown talent that you have. I'm still, believe in some of those guys to make some really good plays for you this year. But now, you've kind of infused them with, just more life, more talent, and more production. I think more importantly, and I think that's the beauty of the portal, man. I mean, and it's not. Again, this is a unique season because Clemson had a lot of attrition, but I definitely would like to see them take this approach more often in the offseason. I don't think you're ever going to. I don't think you'll ever feel comfortable, and I think a lot of Clemson fans have realized. I don't think you'll ever feel comfortable taking 2 to 3 transfers per cycle. You need to go out and get some guys. I'm not saying go get 20 every year, but I mean this number. I mean getting 9, 10 in a year like this, I think is a big deal, and you need to be willing and ready to do something like that. And Tom Allen has certainly spearheaded this whole kind of overhaul of this defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been refreshing to see Clemson go out and flex their muscle out there in the transfer portal and get some guys that we frankly needed on the roster. I think we both made it pretty clear exiting the 2025 season that if this roster and ultimately the staff did not look different in 2026, it was not going to be a good thing. Again, only 2 staff changes happen. You can debate about that on whether there should have been more or not. At this point, it doesn't really matter. The staff changes were made, but it is nice to see this defense kind of be rebuilt and retooled via the transfer portal with those 9 transfer commitments so far. All right, Jordan, transitioning to the offense, and we got not a lengthy list to talk about on offense. We got one singular player, the most recent player to commit to the Clemson Tigers, SMU transfer running back, Chris Johnson Jr. This is a guy that Clemson fans should know well. He scored a touchdown in Death Valley this past season. He flashed his speed. This is a guy that has crazy speed, crazy athletic, a guy that you can use in a bunch of different ways. Catching the ball out of the backfield, you can line him up wide. You can do reverses. You can do end arounds. You can do a lot of things with a guy like Chris Johnson just because of his athleticism and his speed. Maybe something in the return game and his future at Clemson as well. So I think he's a guy that will have a lot of different things. When you think about a guy, in Chad Morris, usually, a kind of a creative guy, a guy that likes playmakers. So I'm sure Chad Morris is excited about Chris Johnson Jr. joining the Clemson Tigers, but had 478 yards, rushing yards last season, good for 7.1 yards a carry, had 180 receiving yards last season as well. So a guy that can get it done in both rushing and receiving. Not going to be your between the tackle guy, but you don't need him for that. You got Gideon Davison that is more than capable of taking care of that for you. You got Easy E that's more than capable of taking care of that as well. So this is going to be your speed guy, your change of pace back. Your thoughts on Clemson landing Chris Johnson Jr.? Not something I expected, but I think it's something that has been very welcomed by the Clemson fans.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely think this is one of the most more exciting takes in this portal class. I mean, solely for the fact that it's offense, but also because of the type of player you're getting. I mean, again, this is another player that Clemson had a previous relationship with. Chris Johnson Jr. A couple seasons ago was a priority running back recruit for C.J. Spiller. They were able to draw him for a visit, but they weren't able to close the deal. He eventually settled on Miami, and obviously spent time there and then at SMU. But again, a guy that you have previous relationships with, that decides he's looking for greener pastures. So, they're not all bad apples. Just looking for their next big payday, or just they don't want to compete. Sometimes these are guys that can come in and help you, and I definitely think Chris Johnson Jr. is a guy that brings that to the table. I mean, elite speed, one of the fastest players in football. I think you can, like you said, I think you can implement him in this offense in a lot of ways. I mean, hey, I'm still not sold on the Chad Morris hire. I will say that until we see that on the field. But if this is the route you're going to go, these are the types of players that you want to bring in that offense if you want an opportunity to succeed. So props to Dabo, Chad Morris. Apparently, according to Tiger Illustrated, Chad Morris had to do some convincing to get Dabo's approval on that one. But hey, you got him here nonetheless, and I think he's going to come in and instantly be an important part of your running back room in some form or fashion. I mean, I don't know how much he's going to factor as a between the tackles runner and a traditional runner, but as a gadget guy, as a guy that you can throw the ball to out of the backfield, I think he certainly has a lot of utility in that role at the very least. So makes a lot of sense for Clemson in this offense and gives you a really dynamic weapon. And gotta say, I'm sure most of you have found this out already. No, he is not the son of Chris Johnson, the former Tennessee Titans running back.
No, he's not. No, he is not.
I don't care what Google says. Google AI says that it's not true. Me and John Blau have been spearheading the "This is not Chris Johnson's son" public service announcement.
Well, it is Chris Johnson's son, just not that Chris Johnson.
Just not that Chris Johnson's son.
A different, unrelated Chris Johnson. But
which it is a funny coincidence when you consider they're both from South Florida. They both play running back, and they're both really, really fast. But no, they're not related. Chris Johnson has two sons. I follow them on Instagram. They don't play football. Well, they don't play running back. and they don't play college football. So I just gotta put that out there. So no, we're not getting. Unfortunately, we're not getting any sort of visits from CJ2K in the near future. No, that's not that Chris Johnson.
No, all right. Well, we tried. We tried.
We tried.
We tried. But yeah, no. Shout out to Chad Morris, I guess. I'm going to give him some props. I've beat him up enough, I think, on the channel. I think my thoughts are clear about the offensive coordinator hire. However, if we're rolling with Chad Morris, and that's exactly what we're going to do, you might as well get him some playmakers. So having a guy like Chris Johnson Jr. in your backfield that you can move around and do a bunch of different things with is certainly not a bad thing. So we'll see what his role ultimately ends up being, but he's certainly a weapon, and he's certainly got breakaway speed. He can score it anytime he touches the ball, if he gets the opportunity to get out in space. So glad to have him on the roster. Glad to finally have some real transfers to talk about here, Jordan. So it's been an exciting time in Clemson, South Carolina, from a transfer portal standpoint, and some good things happening there. So retooling the roster for 2026, and we'll see how it shakes out in spring practice. And again, the transfer portal doesn't close until Friday, and then you can add even after that. Just no one new can enter the portal after Friday. So we'll keep an eye on that and see if Clemson is going to add any more portal takes. I know they probably are looking to add a couple more. All right, guys, make sure you're checking out the Voice of College Football website. That is correct. The Voice of College Football has our very own website. I'm going to put it right up here on the screen so you guys can see it. Go over to vocfb.com. That's vocfb.com. Check out the Voice of College Football website, your one-stop shop for all things Voice of College Football. We got articles written over there. We got our show schedule up there. The merch store is over there. The different channels, the forums, all sorts of stuff over there. So go check it out, vocfb.com. That's vocfb.com. Let us know what you think of the website, and we appreciate your help with that. Jordan, Clemson has brought in 10 transfers so far in this cycle, in this transfer portal season, if you will. 1 offense, 9 on defense. But the question remains for Clemson fans, what is still needed? What holes do we still have on this roster that need to be addressed via the transfer portal before Clemson shuts it down and turns the page and starts focusing on spring and all of those things and building this team that you have for 2026?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think obviously you did a lot of retooling on defense. You brought in guys at all 3 levels that you think can play for you. I think that's a great deal. But obviously the attention as of late has been to the offensive side of the football, and having just one transfer, albeit a pretty good transfer in my opinion, that can help you immediately. Not sure it's enough to really feel comfortable with where things stand right now, especially with a new offense, implementing a new offense and all of that, even if it is an offense that we're pretty familiar with at this point. So I think offensively, I think there's a couple of places you need to look. I think first and foremost, offensive line. I think you need to go get a starter or two. And as far as I know, Clemson is still looking, and they're willing to spend if they find a guy they like. But the track record for Clemson with transfer offensive linemen has been abysmal, like abysmal. I think back to even going all the way back to like Olu Oluwatimi when he was when transferring out of Virginia and ended up at Michigan. You have not been able to land any. You've been 0 for in your transfer portal targets on the offensive line. Cyrus Torrance and Keelan Rutledge. I mean, the guys that have gone on to be really strong. Cyrus Torrance is starting in the NFL right now. Keelan Rutledge is going to be a day 1, day 2 pick on the offensive line after going to Georgia Tech. Like,
yeah,
this at a certain point, you need to go get somebody. It's been so frustrating to be connected to guys, and maybe things are starting to trend in your direction, and then all of a sudden the rug gets pulled out from you. Most recent example, Stanton Ramble out of Michigan State, a guy that you had recruited previously coming out of high school. I had a previous relationship with. There was a lot of indications that Clemson was going to be the destination, and then boom, all of a sudden he's committing to Auburn. Like, this is the kind of thing. Like, I'm tired of it. And clearly it's not a Matt Luke problem, because this was happening before Matt Luke. When Thomas Austin was your coach, you couldn't bring anybody in. I don't know what it is with transfer portal offensive linemen that you just can't seem to land one. I kind of have a sneaking suspicion on what it is. Really, it's just your abysmal track record at putting offensive linemen in the league. It's just really easy to negatively recruit against this program. It really is incredible, which makes it even more incredible, the offensive line class out of high school that Matt Luke is bringing in. I don't understand, even still, how you can't land one guy you haven't been able to get him. It's time for that to change. I think you need to go get a starter at tackle at the very least. I really think you should get two players that, maybe one tackle, maybe one guy that can kind of play both, and give you some help on the interior as well. I don't feel comfortable with where the offensive line is right now if you don't go get somebody like that.
No,
at least one.
No, I think they for sure need a tackle, like, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But it would be nice for them to add an interior guy as well. Maybe even somebody that could play center. I know Harris Sewell's probably the guy that's going to step into there. Is he ready? He's a guy that's been, kind of up and down, kind of hot and cold. Sometimes he's playing really good. Sometimes he's not. And I just think, on that offensive line, you need a couple guys to kind of bridge the gap. You're recruiting at a very high level on the offensive line, and you got some really good pieces. I just don't know that they're going to be there in 2026, right? I don't know that they're going to be ready. Offensive line is one of those positions where you have your guys like a Blake Miller that start from day one and play every snap of every game, and finish their college career with, all these snaps and all, like, those guys exist. It's rare. Okay. It usually takes a year or two at least for offensive linemen to really get to the level where they can be trusted, snap in and snap out in big time games. Right. So you need a guy, at least an offensive tackle, but probably at least two guys, honestly, along that offensive line, just to kind of bridge the gap, because you do have some really good pieces. You got Elijah Thurman, you got Braden Jacobs returning, Colin Sadler is going to be in that mix as well. So you got some pieces there. You just need more, because if you've been taught anything over the past few seasons, injuries are going to happen. So it's not good enough just to have 5 guys that you can trust. You need way more than that. And you need some veteran guys that you can bring in via the transfer portal. I hope Clemson could get it done this go around. It's not feeling great that we're at this point in time in the cycle, and we've yet to be able to land an offensive lineman. It's not looking great for us. That's super unfortunate, because honestly, that's kind of the glaring, that's the blinking red light in the corner, right? Is like, we need to add to this offensive line group. And to this point in the portal cycle, we have not been able to do it. So will they be able to get it done? I don't know. I'm not confident. Until Clemson lands an offensive lineman transfer, I'm just going to go on believing they're not capable of doing it.
Yeah, man. I don't. Yeah, I don't have any confidence in this position group in particular, just
Yeah.
because of the history at recruiting it out of the portal um, and just the play on the field. It's just not. It has to be better. And you have, and like you said, you have some pieces to work with, but you can't expect them to come in and be those guys, early on and put that much pressure on. I think you need to go get some veterans because, man, I mean, Braden Jacobs they don't grow on trees, even though he
They
looks like
don't.
he looks like a tree himself.
He
Um,
does.
but like he is a rare exception, and he's nursing an injury, so that's you can't expect him to. I mean, I think he's going to start for you just because I think he's just too good not to play. But at the other positions, the opposite tackle position, who's going to step in and play for you, in this room right now.
Right. Who do you trust? I don't trust anybody at this point. Yeah. And look at the guys that you're expecting to either start or play major roles, right? Braden Jacobs, injury history, right? Elijah Thurman, injury history. Colin Sadler, injury history. All these guys that you're expecting to play significant roles along the offensive line this year have a lot of injury. Outside Braden Jacobs, he's had one. Kind of that freak celebrating after the game is over. I don't even know how something like that happens, but as good as Elijah Thurman's been, he hasn't been available a lot.
No.
When he's out there, he's good. But it's the problem with him is being out there, and that's a lot of those guys. And again, I feel like you can't move forward until you at least bring in a tackle that can start opposite Braden Jacobs.
Yeah.
I think that's an absolute need on this team. It'd be nice to get more than one offensive lineman, but I'll settle for just a tackle if we can get that.
Yeah. Just give me one bona fide starter.
Yeah,
tackle.
No doubt he's going to walk in and he's going to be your starting right tackle.
That would be wonderful.
It would be. And I think that's what Clemson needs at this point. Other than that, on offense, the only thing you can think of is the quarterback position. Clemson ain't going to get a quarterback.
Yeah.
So just all of us Clemson fans, we can forget about it. There ain't no use in talking about it. The quarterback, as much as I said it, Jordan, heading into this offseason, that I thought that Clemson would go get a transfer quarterback and that I didn't think the starting quarterback was currently on the roster and all that stuff. It clearly is, right? It's either going to be Chris Vizina, Chris Denson, Tate Reynolds. It's going to be one of those guys. That's who it's going to be. Probably going to be Chris Vizina.
Yeah.
That's
what it's looking like.
I think it's pretty clear it's going to be Chris Vizina. That's what it's going to be. So, love it, hate it, doesn't really matter. Quarterback's off the table as far as transfers go. You brought in a running back, which I was surprised about, pleasantly surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I think he brings a big addition to it. Tight end, you're fine. Wide receiver, you're fine. So really no other places that I could see along the offensive side of the ball where you really need to add somebody. But they need to focus all their efforts, channel all their strength into finding an offensive tackle that can be a starter day one, walking into here out of the transfer portal. We got to find him. He's got to be out there. I mean, how many people entered the transfer portal? 5,000? What was it? Like some ridiculous number. There's got to be one offensive tackle that wants to play for Clemson.
Yeah.
Out of all those dudes, there's got to be one.
I mean,
that both wants to play for Clemson and has the ability to play at the level that we need.
Exactly.
There's got to
be one.
There's got to be one.
I don't know whether or not Clemson goes and gets them. Obviously, that's.
I mean, at this point, just overpay for him. I don't even care.
But and that's the thing. They did that with, and I'm gonna just say they did that with Chris Johnson. They paid him pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't a premium target, nationally in terms of what he. But you went and spent for him because you felt like he was going to bring something to his value to you was really important. I think that the same thing has to apply for a tackle, and it's really hard to overpay for a tackle right now because that's just a premium position in general. It's not like running back where those come a dime. You can get there's a lot of running backs in the portal every year. There's not a whole lot of good tackles every year. So I mean, it's really hard to overpay for a tackle, but you need to put some bread up, Clemson, and
yeah.
I think they're willing to do it, but are they going to go? Are they going to be able to win that battle? Are they going to be able to go and get that guy? I don't have belief in that right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have belief in it either, Jordan. And it's not going to be good if Clemson can't land an offensive tackle. It's not going to be good. No. That's not going to be a good thing. Adam Walford, yeah, Brock Bradley too, yeah. So. It's going to be one of those four guys. Brock Bradley, Tate Reynolds, Chris Denson, or CV. Probably going to be CV. If I was a betting man. Can you find some odds on our friends on FanDuel on who Clemson's starting quarterback is going to be? I'd put my money on CV if FanDuel's got that prop bet for us. I don't think they do. But maybe we need to contact them and be like, hey, should have a prop bet out there for Clemson starting quarterback in 2026.
That would be sick. Yeah, we might need to go talk to him about that. Another great way to waste my money.
That's right. Yeah, hey, you got to waste some of it. At least a little bit of it.
We love y'all. All right.
72 people in the live chat right now. I appreciate each and every one of you for being in here. You guys are truly amazing. We're going to get to your questions here in a moment. But I need you guys to help me out. I only got 29 likes on the video. Get that closer to that 70 mark if
That's
you
a horrible
please.
Ratio, guys.
That's a horrible ratio. Help us out. Go hit that like button. It's free. It's free, guys. I'm not asking for any of your money. Just hit that like button. Help us out. And consider subscribing. If you're still here an hour plus into the show, I feel like you like what we're doing here, so hit that subscribe button. We are so close, Jordan, to that 6,000 subscriber mark. We can almost taste it. So help us get there. Really do appreciate you guys. And while you're thinking about supporting our show via likes and subscriptions and stuff like that, consider going over to our merch store. That's right. The Voice of College Football Clemson channel has our very own merch. So go check it out. It's VOCFB-shop. That's VOCFB-shop. Got the Clemson gear here. All of our team channels have gear. So hats, shirts, polos, tumblers, coffee cups, all the stuff you could possibly want. So if you want to support the show and get yourself something nice, go check it out. VOCFB-shop. That's VOCFB-shop. Appreciate you guys and all the support and just for showing up and being here and listening to what me and Jordan have to say. Really do appreciate you guys. So, all right, Jordan, the time has come. We are done with our planned portion of the show. We have talked about everything we wanted to talk about tonight. So it's only fitting that we give our fans what they want and talk about what they want to talk about for the rest of the show. So let's see what the people want to know. Let's see what questions they have. And we'll let you guys drive the rest of the show before we hop off of here.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, shout out to the Hoops team closing out that 74-50 win over the Boston College Eagles. That live 23.5 hit. Thank you, FanDuel. Made me a little bit of cash. I only put like $15 down, but we're making money nonetheless, baby. Thank you, Clemson basketball. Thank you, Bri Brownell. Thank you to our partners over at FanDuel. Let's see what you guys are talking about.
David, Stephon Green went to LSU.
Yes, he did.
We will see him week 1.
All right. A lot of discussion about the quarterbacks, for good reason. A lot of questions about CV, Chad Morris. Let's see. Adam says, if CV starts, it will be Dabo's decision. If we're solely up to Chad, then it wouldn't be him. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it's absolutely Dabo's decision to not go and get a quarterback out of the portal. But if Chris Vizina is deemed to be your best option at quarterback, it wouldn't surprise me if Chad Morris came to that conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, look, looking at CV's game, it's certainly not an ideal quarterback for Chad Morris. But he might give the team the best option to win.
Yeah.
Chris Denson, just talking about him specifically, dynamic from an athletic standpoint. We saw what he could do with his legs, right? However, is his arm there? I think that's a big question mark. I think that's a huge question mark, right? Tate Reynolds, ton of potential, right? But literally missed his entire senior season. So he hasn't really played significant football in a game since his junior year in high school. So to walk in day one and take over the starting position, I think that's a tall task. I don't know. Maybe he can do it. He's not going to play baseball this spring. He's putting everything into football. He's going to learn the offense. He's going to, do all that stuff. So maybe Brock Bradley, maybe he comes in and just lights it up and takes over. Again, we don't know. I just say Chris Vizina because he's been here the longest. He's the most experienced. Those two freshmen, I just don't know if they can walk in and get it down enough to supplant CV. And then Chris Denson, I just got a lot of questions as far as his ability to push the ball down the field. Yeah. And Chad Morris likes to take shots down the field. You guys remember, he loves deep shots.
That is the offense, man. It's screens and go balls, man.
It's 47 screens and 27 go balls.
Yeah.
And then he mixes some runs in there too. I'm not saying he don't run the football. I'm not saying that at all. But yeah.
He's a Gus Malzahn disciple, man. Like that is the offense, man. Lots of RPOs, little screens, and then you're going to take your shots.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an overly complicated offense, but you need a guy that can push the ball downfield.
Right, and you got to be able to throw the ball deep and be accurate when you're throwing the ball deep. And honestly, that's Chris Vizina right now. Until we see what those freshmen can do. Yeah. But that's my kind of thoughts on it. But he's not an ideal fit for the Chad Morris offense. Chad Morris likes the quarterback to be able to beat the defense with their legs. That ain't Chris Vizina's game. He's not really a runner. We seen him try a little bit in his limited time. He doesn't look great running the football. So
no, not quite. I think he's a little bit of a better runner than people give him credit for. But you're not going to ask him to. He's not going to Taj Boyd at Deshaun Watson,
right.
Quarterback power like that. I'm not sure if that's necessarily his game, even though he did that a lot when he came in. I don't know. I do think he's more of a I'm going to run to extend the play with my legs. I'm not necessarily going to create a whole lot of rushing yards with my legs. That's just
right.
That's not his game.
Yeah.
Let's see. John. I said Chad. John asks, is Morris officially the quarterback's coach, or is Taj getting a new title? So, from my understanding, is Taj Boyd to begin with wasn't necessarily that hands-on with the quarterbacks.
No.
So I think Chad Morris will definitely.
Chad Morris will be the quarterback's coach.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Taj Boyd's expanded role is simply a recruiting role.
Yeah.
So much like Tom Allen doesn't go on the road recruiting, Chad Morris ain't going on the road recruiting. Taj Boyd's going in his place. So that's kind of that deal. So like just like Ben Boulware last year was put on that recruiting roster because you can only have so many coaches that go recruit on the road. He was put in Tom Allen's place. Same thing. Taj Boyd was put in Chad Morris's place. So basically, your offense and defensive coordinators are not on the road recruiting.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Carl says we need to spend $50 million or more to get good 4 and 5 stars. $50 million.
I don't think we got that.
Yeah, I don't know many programs spend. I don't know of any program spending $50 million on players right now. I think that's a little ambitious.
I've heard we got like 20 million.
Yeah.
I don't know about 50.
Yeah.
I don't think Clemson's got it like that.
Yeah.
You got to go to go down to Texas A&M and get some of that oil money.
Yeah.
Or Texas Tech or whoever.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessary. I mean, if you had 50 million, that would be great, but you're not going to see that. Let's see. Desperate says Todd's not a quarterback coach, just another former player with a lot of Tiger equity. Love him, but we need to hire real coaches. Yeah, I mean, I get that sentiment. It is frustrating, but I mean, I do think you've at a certain point you just need to be better players first and foremost. I mean, I think quarterback you haven't been good enough as of late. Offensive line, you haven't been good enough as of late. I mean, we can only complain about the staff so much before it's like, all right, well, it's time to get for your players to actually be players. Because I refuse to believe that all the coaches you have on the roster and all the brain trust that you brought in the last couple of seasons, they just don't know what they're doing. I mean, obviously the Garrett Riley experiment didn't work, and he took a lot of heat, and I think he took some heat that he deserved, some he didn't. You got to be better from a player standpoint, and I think this year has illuminated that to me so much. Watching this college football playoff, it's like you just like I look at it and it's like I don't really look at these coaches are really just coaching it up right now. It's like man, our players just don't look like that. I'm jealous of Indiana watching them play football. Because people talk about how well coached they are, and they are phenomenally well. They are a phenomenally coached football team. They do not make mistakes. But some of the guys they have look like NFL players, and you've got some, and you've got some guys that you recruited to be those guys that aren't just flat out aren't those guys. And some of them have left for good reason. So I think at the end of the day, I mean, it's a nuanced conversation. It's not one and not the other. It's a mix of both. But I mean, I don't know, man. Players are the name of the game in the college game, especially.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, talent acquisition is first and foremost. Look, as great as Nick Saban was as a football coach, right? He didn't win just because he was a great football coach.
Yeah.
He won because he had a crap load of talent on his roster every single year. Yes, he was a good coach. Yes, he's the greatest college football coach of all time, widely accepted as that. But you got to have players.
Yeah,
you got to have players, and there are certainly areas of our coaching staff that I would agree with a lot of Clemson fans that need to be addressed. I believe that we could have some better coaches than we currently have if we wanted them, right?
Yep.
So I do get the frustration from that standpoint. But it always, I mean, you're right, Jordan. It always starts with the talent that you have on your team. Always has, always will. you need to have great coaches that can develop players, absolutely. But you got to have talent first.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. We got a super chat from Carefree Cash Flow. Thank you so much for the $2. He says, if it don't work, it's Dabo's last year. No exceptions. Hey, I mean, listen, I've been on record. Since the Chad Morris hire, I'm not necessarily calling for Dabo's job, but if this doesn't work, there is going to be the iron is going to be hotter than it's ever been.
Yeah, it's going to get loud. It's going to get loud in Clemson, South Carolina. Next year, I don't know, maybe. I mean, this is Dabo Swinney's direction that he's taking the program, right? So, yeah, I mean, to his point, if it doesn't work, yeah, I mean, the seat's going to get hotter than it's ever been before, and he could be shown the door. I don't know that happens after next season. I guess, I mean, it all depends on what next season looks like, right? Like if we win 2 games, maybe, right? Like maybe that's a possibility, right? But it depends on. Look, Dabo said he's going to start trusting his gut. Apparently, this is his gut, so we're going to see if it works. I got a lot of questions about the offensive coordinator hire, but with those questions, I'm hopeful. Like I hope it works out. I hope Chad Morris and Dabo can rekindle the magic and the offense can, get back to some semblance of being productive consistently. And I do think they kind of structured Chad's contract in that way as well. There's a lot of incentives in there of production and being top whatever offense and blah, 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 blah. So there's some incentives in there for him to get the job done in a hurry. So
yeah,
we'll
absolutely. Yeah, JP Newby makes a good point about Chad's incentive-based contract, which I do think is a good caveat. If you're going to do that, that's a good caveat. You better you get paid if you're successful, which makes sense.
Yeah, if we're not successful, guess what? You don't get paid.
Yeah. Well, not you get paid, just not nearly as much as you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're gonna get paid. Yeah, just you're not gonna see that full contract that you were supposed to get. Right, you're not gonna get that full 1.2 million or whatever it is.
Yeah,
you're gonna get a portion of that. So I mean, I think that's important. And I think that should become more of a thing in college football. Is like incentive-based contracts. Like if you're not getting the job done, like we'll pay you $10 million a year if you get the job done.
Yeah.
But if you don't, why would we pay you $10 million?
Right.
That don't make no sense.
You're not going to get many like established coaches that are going to agree to that. Chad Morris. I mean, this was you were able to kind of, hit him with that because he's a guy. He hasn't been a coordinator in 5 years or whatever at the college level. So
right. And I don't think anybody was beating down Chad Morris's door trying to get him to come be their offensive coordinator.
Right.
So
I think bit of a special circumstance.
Clemson definitely had, probably all of the leverage there when it came to the structuring of the contract.
David says, "I wonder how much Indiana spent." Well, I mean, they did spend a good amount, and that's the thing with the Indiana thing. Like when I talk about players, I'm not just talking about getting 4- and 5-star players. I'm just talking about getting good football players. That's what Indiana did with their money in the portal. They went and got good football players. They got old football players. That's the thing that Signetti and that staff have seemed to have mastered and are continuing. If you've seen their portal acquisitions as of late, they're continuing to do is they've gotten old and they're staying old. That's how you win in college football, and you're seeing it in college basketball too. Like teams leveraging the portal to stay old, to never have to worry about a year where you've got a lot of young guys playing. I think he's struck that. I think Cignetti has struck that balance at a really high level, and that's why Indiana is rolling the way they are, on top of them being extremely well coached. So, I mean, when I talk about Clemson and their players not looking like other teams' players, I'm not just talking about the star talent on the roster, because because when you look at the star talent, I think somebody earlier made the point. Clemson has more star talent on their roster than they did during the championship years. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about good football players. You don't have enough good football players. They don't. When I say our players don't look like that, they don't look like good football players. I don't care what their 40 time is. I don't care what their star ranking was in high school. I mean, I do care what their 40 time is if you play on defense. But I don't care like how much they bench. I don't care about. I care about whether or not they can play the game, whether they know how to play their position, and whether or not they're going to produce. Indiana went and got guys that can produce, not just guys that were highly rated coming out of high school.
Yeah, and I think what you're trying to convey is like, it's not that those things don't matter. Of course, your 40 time matters. Of course, your star ranking, it's not the end all be all, but it is a representation of, that you have some talent, right? But I think what the important thing is like, that stuff is not the end all be all. Turn on the tape, right? NFL scouts do this all the time. They talk themselves into players that look good at the combine. But when you turn on the tape, they don't look nearly as good. So suddenly they're being, they talk themselves into these things all the time just because, this guy's got all the measurables. Okay, turn on the tape. What did he look like playing football? That's what you are going to pay him millions of dollars to do, is to play football, not run around in tights and do a bunch of exercises, right? So, yeah, I think look, you have a problem at Clemson, and I think it starts with just a sheer mentality on the team. Like, Clemson used to be, especially on defense, nasty. I mean, dogs, like, looking to do damage on every play. Clemson's defense ain't been that in a long time, man. They lost that edge when Brent Venables walked out the door. That's just very frank. They lost that edge, that competitive edge, that fire, that willingness to lay your body on the line every single play and make this offensive player hate his life for the entire 4 quarters. Clemson's don't got that no more. And that's the problem. That therein lies one of the major fundamental issues in this Clemson program, is they don't have that fire, specifically on the defensive side of the ball anymore. And then offensively, it's a mess. Because you can't get the most important position right, which is the quarterback position. You got talent. You got TJ Moore. You got Brian Wesco. You got Tyler Brown. You got Gideon Davison. You just signed Chris Johnson. You got talent everywhere. But guess what? If you don't get the quarterback right in 2026, it ain't going to matter how much talent you have over there. It's not going to matter. So, we'll see. I hope Chris Vizina surprises all of us. I'll come on here and I will apologize and sing his praises. But we shall see. Same thing with the Chad Morris hire. I was very critical. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I do too, man. I really do.
Yeah, the defense has to get that attitude back. They have to. They got to get that edge back.
I agree. 100%.
And I think
they haven't had it.
That's why I'm excited about some of these portal guys, because you're bringing them in, and some of them are coming from lower levels. Some of them are coming from, not being able to play as much as they want to play. And those people tend to come in hungry, wanting to prove themselves, wanting to show that, hey, look, like, I should have been at this level the whole time. But instead, I had to take the long way to get to D1, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those are typically the guys that play with a little bit more of an attitude about them, a little bit more of an edge. And Clemson needs that badly on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm excited about some of these guys, and hopefully they can change that culture a little bit over there and get back to not being soft on defense. That's the best way I can describe it. Clemson's become soft on defense. And I don't like saying that, but it's just true.
Oh, yeah. It is. You're not hurting my feelings.
You know, you got all these talented guys. You got these 5 stars. You got these future NFL players, and they're all soft. They're playing soft. They're not playing with that high motor. They're not playing with that that attitude. So we'll see if they can get it flipped around. See if Tom Allen can produce a little better in his second year with some of his picks in the transfer portal. So these are his guys.
All right. See you guys talking about EJ Williams. Yeah, I saw him getting some attention because people were like, "Oh my God, he played with Trevor Lawrence." I mean, I don't really know why. I mean, that was so shocking. I mean, we've had 6-year players. Like, this is not new. Like, this is.
You got people trying to get a 7th year.
Yeah.
They're getting denied, but you got people trying to get a 7th year.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm like, okay, I don't know why they picked this particular one, but I mean, hey, shout out to EJ. I mean, he carved out a little role there for Indiana. He's not really like a superstar or anything. I think he only has like 400 yards on the season, but you know, he's playing a little bit. So shout out to him. I mean, that's not one. I mean, man, that when you talk about a guy that you wish had worked out, but and didn't really play to his talent level. I mean, some reasons weren't his fault, but a lot of it was his fault. You know, glad to see him kind of finally settle into a role, I guess, in his last year. And hey, they're winning. You know, people are going to point to that and see. I mean, look at the transfers out of Clemson that have gone on to do great things or whatever. But really, the list of that is pretty small.
Yeah, it's a much longer list in the opposite direction of that.
Yeah.
Than people being successful.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the guys Clemson has lost over the years. I mean, there's you can probably count on. I think I can count on one hand the guys that I'm like, okay, we missed. He would have been a really good player for you, or he was a good player for you, and sucks you weren't able to hold on to him.
Yeah,
like Darian Kendrick would have.
DK,
and that one doesn't even really count because he was kicked off the team first. Like
right.
there were reasons beyond football that he was no longer playing for Clemson.
Yeah.
Andrew Makuba, I think is probably the easiest one, the obvious. You let that one get away. Didn't play him in the right position. You kind of screwed yourself there. Who else? TJ Daugherty is a good football player for Ole Miss, but again, he's another guy that's not on the team for reasons other than football.
Yeah,
to say the least.
Yeah. The Ole Miss can keep that dude.
Yeah.
I don't care how good he is.
I mean, like, seriously, like who else is there?
I mean, to a lesser degree, you could say Bo Collins, but I mean, we didn't
say Bo Collins, man. He had like 500 yards for Notre Dame, like his last year. Like he didn't.
I'm not saying
better year than any year he had.
No. I'm not saying that at all, and I don't even really think Clemson was trying to keep him.
Not for what he was asking for.
Yeah,
no.
Like I think they wanted to keep him, but obviously for what he was asking, they weren't going to keep him. But I'm just like, he did have success at Notre Dame. Like he wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, and the team was good.
The team was good. So
they played for a national champion. So
that's why I say to a lesser degree, maybe a Bo Collins. But I mean, again, that's only what, 3?
Yeah.
4?
Who else? Who was that safety that Joseph Charleston ended up being a decent safety for Missouri for a little bit.
He did.
maybe that, but even then, I mean, that's kind of stretching it. Beyond, like, seriously, beyond that, you think of the other guys that have gone out and flamed out. I can't think of. I mean, defensive line wise, is there anybody?
Who was
I think
the?
Stephon Green will be on this list.
Stephon Green will definitely
hate to
be
break
on
it
this
to you
list.
guys. Stephon Green will be on the wish
Who's,
you hadn't lost him. But
what's the running back that went to Wisconsin?
Oh, Ches Maluzzi, yeah.
Yeah,
but he had so many injuries. Like, I
yeah,
mean,
he was up and down.
It would have been nice to keep him.
Yeah.
So okay, so what, like 4 or 5 players?
Like 4 or 5 players,
and we had
even some of those are like we're adding them because they had some semblance of success elsewhere, but not a ton. I mean, really, the 2 that come to mind are DK and Makuba. I mean, those are really the 2. And then, to your point, Stephon Green will, in short order, be on that list, unfortunately for us.
Toriano, no, I don't. He wasn't really that good at. I mean, the times I watched him, he got fried a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't really see that much from him at Missouri. But is he even still there? I guess he is. I don't know if he had that good of a season. So he had 18 tackles, 2 interceptions. I mean, okay.
It's not bad.
No, I don't know if that's like, oh man, I wish we would have held on to him. I mean, to be honest with you, he also, well, I'm not going to talk about him. Joseph Ngata didn't transfer. He played all his years at Clemson, so he wouldn't be on that list. We already mentioned Darian Kendrick. I mean, he's the
DK. He was the first big guy you lost, but he did get kicked off the team. So
yeah, so I don't
that
necessarily.
That was kind of Clemson's first like major piece that they lost to, I guess, the transfer portal. But again, he wasn't going to be playing for Clemson anyway.
Yeah,
because he couldn't stay out of trouble.
Yeah,
great player, just couldn't stay out of trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the only 2 true, like, man, you lost a star, future NFL, true future NFL talent was, Andrew Makuba, and I think Stephon Green is going to be on that list.
Yeah.
So,
which speaks to Clemson. I mean, that's good that list is that short.
Yeah. You've largely held on to your best players.
Yeah, that you're not losing those stars, because you very well could. Lots of teams across the country do each and every year. So it is nice that we are able to hold on to our guys.
Yeah.
I mean, you imagine being that team that, like, every time you get a star player, you just know they're going to walk away at the end of that season. Like, I'm glad that ain't us, but that is some teams out there, and that sucks.
Yeah.
Tyson Pumachan
and Frank Ladson. Okay, yeah. I'm really mad we lost those 2. Oh man, those guys went off to do great. You know what? Before the transfer portal era, I guess. Well, I mean, Chase Bryce ended up having a decent college career, but obviously, I mean, he wasn't playing at a time where he would have rather had him. Well, I would rather had him than DJ. So.
That's true, but but to be fair, like, I was happy for Chase when he moved on.
Yeah,
like he had, like, he wasn't going to play at Clemson, but he will forever hold a special place in the hearts of all Clemson fans. Because of what he did. So
yeah,
he may have never been a starter at Clemson, but he's got one of the most memorable plays.
Yeah. Who
Oh
else?
God! Don't even mention that name.
Oh yeah, what are you,
Don't even mention that
JD?
name.
I can't
I'm not even.
co-sign that one.
I'm not even going to say that name. He will never be named on this
Yeah,
podcast
yeah,
ever.
no.
You don't come in here and wear the number that he wore and then do what he did. No, 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 no. He will never be named here.
Yeah, no.
You know how they say, once a tiger, always a tiger? Not in that case. Nope. Nope. Absolutely not.
Zarek Cooper ended up being pretty good. He had
Oh,
a
yeah,
decent
that's right.
season at Jacksonville State.
That's true.
You saw somebody mention Lynn J. Dixon.
Yeah.
Okay. Lynn J. The stories about him, I could, okay. Not going to get into it, but he is the reason why he didn't have a better career. That I'll say that. And he is, I don't think he's doing too well right now. Last I heard of him. So, hate that for him, but
yeah, it
he's
sucks.
a lot of his decisions are why he wasn't successful. I think he was a talented football player. So I hate he didn't work out, but he's not one that I'm like, man, I would.
He could have been really good if he would have had his head on straight, but he didn't. So
yeah. The Virginia running back, which one? What, Kobe Pace?
Kobe Pace.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I regret that's a guy I'm like, man, I wish Clemson would have held on to him because I mean you were in at that point in time. I mean he had a pretty nice season in 2021. Him and Will Shipley were a fun little 1-2 punch there.
Yeah,
but it was the writing was kind of on the wall in 2022. I mean once Phil Maffa got settled in, there was little chance, and he also dealt with injuries. It would his place in the offense was kind of gone at that point. So it made sense why he went and transferred. I'm not really torn up about that one. I liked Kobe Pace though, so that's not a bad choice. We ruined Lynn J. Dixon. They chose a true freshman, Will Shipley, who wasn't ready over him. I couldn't disagree more. I mean, Will Shipley was the best running back. Hate to tell you, at that point in time, Will Shipley was the best running back, and he had a really good season. I don't know where that's coming from. Lynn J just didn't want to split carries. Lynn J could have had a good season. Could have had a strong season if he was a team player. So I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. No, I don't. He might see it differently, but I don't. And I do think there were, I have some criticisms about CJ Spiller and how he handled all that. But at the same time, personal responsibility is a thing. I'm not doing that.
you got to make the right decisions, man. At the end of the day, if you can't do the right things off the field, then you're going to limit what you're going to be able to do on the field because, look, there's accountability, and if you're not doing the right things, you're going to be punished.
Yeah,
it's just how it works, man. Like you can't have a bunch of guys just doing whatever they want to do, just because they're a good football player. That's how you lose control of your entire team.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with DK. As great of a player as he was, couldn't stay out of trouble. And ultimately, that's why Clemson kicked him off the team. Great player, but just poor decisions.
Yeah. DeMarcus Bowman, my cousin. No, not really.
DeMarcus Bowman. Whatever happened to that
Another guy that is not successful, but reasons all on his own. He was just flat out. Yeah. I coming out of high school, I really thought he was the heir apparent, but yeah, I don't think he set foot
Did he
into a
ever
single.
play?
I think he got like 2 carries in the COVID year, like 3 carries or something like that in the COVID year.
Man,
And then
that dude was supposed to be like the man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't think I saw that man step into a single class. I don't think he went to a single class during his time at Clemson. I'm just being honest with you.
Well, he wasn't here long, so
yeah, he was not here long for reasons related to that and other things. So, yeah, he is the reason why he didn't play.
Yeah.
I thought Bowman no, he did. He played. He played some. He got a few carries that season, that 2020 season, and then he transferred out.
Is Tony Elliott the best OC Clemson had during Dabo's era? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the most accomplished.
Yeah.
In terms of
he showed the most production.
Yeah. All right, let's do a couple more and then we'll get on out of here. I gotta get up at 5:30 tomorrow, man. What am I doing?
Me too. Oh, go ahead.
Gutterer says, as a running back coach, I would have to strongly disagree. Ship wasn't physically mature enough, and he had issues adjusting to the speed of the game against UG. I believe we win with Lin J. I mean, I don't disagree that like at that point in time, it would have made sense to give Lin J the ball in that game, but I can't agree that the long-term decision to rock with Will Shipley the rest of the season wasn't the right decision, especially with how Lin J carried himself when during that spring and during that fall camp. You don't play guys that are actively, disrespecting, fighting with coaches. You don't do it. Just if you're serious about your program, you don't do that. You don't play those guys. If Lin J had come in with the right attitude, but came in, worked his butt off, competed, and then they didn't play him, I would agree with you that Clemson did him a disservice. But I can't. He is the reason why he didn't play, not anybody else.
Yeah. That's a good question. Who you guys rooting for in the national championship? Y'all going Indiana? Y'all going Miami? Who y'all rooting for?
I think I'm rooting for. I think the Cinderella story. I think I needed to. I think it needs to come to the correct conclusion, and they I think Indiana needs to go ahead and win this game. I'm not necessarily out of any hate for Miami. I don't hate Miami. I honestly don't I don't have that many feelings towards Miami. Unlike most people usually they either say, man, I love Miami, or they hate Miami. I'm not really one of those people. I don't have strong feelings towards Miami. I mean, I certainly respect what they've done this year. No, I think Indiana is a team of destiny, and I think it would just be cool to have a completely new blood win the title. I mean, Miami winning a championship is pretty big for the sport in terms of and big for the conference and all those things. But we've seen them win before. It's been a while, but we've seen them win before. It'd be cool to see a whole new blood like Indiana, who historically is one of the worst Power 4 programs in all of college football, go and win a national championship. That's pretty cool.
It's crazy, man. The run that Kirk Cignetti has taking Indiana on is absolutely insane, man.
Like the
No,
equivalent would be like Wake Forest, like just all of a sudden becoming a national power, and
right. And
like
they kind of it
that's how
kind of
bad.
it kind of reminds me of like Clemson's rise. When the college football playoff first came into exist. Not that
Mhm.
Clemson obviously historically as a program has been much better than Indiana. So I'm
Yeah,
not comparing it like that, but like just like the new kid on the block type of deal, like nobody expected. So it's kind of cool to see that. I think it'd be cool to see them win, just because like who had Indiana even sniffing a national championship 3 years ago? Not a single person. Nobody had that on their proverbial bingo card, if you will. But it would be really cool to see. I'm not going to be upset regardless of who wins. I'm not. I don't got a dog in the fight. I'm not rooting for Miami because they're ACC. I'm not rooting against them because I hate them at all. But I do agree with you. It would be really cool to see it kind of come full circle for Indiana and them kind of get across the finish line. Um, I do think Indiana's going to win the game. Um, I just think they're the best team right now. Um, Now, Miami's defensive line may have something to say about that. They certainly could. They got a defensive line that can certainly take over a game. Um, but I think overall, I trust Mendoza more than I trust Carson Beck.
yeah, I definitely agree with
I think
that.
ultimately that's when it comes. Like when I'm thinking about like who's going to win this game. One, I think Indiana's just on a tear right now. I mean, did you see what they did to Oregon? Like, brother, that was gosh. like, and I know they beat them earlier in the season, but dang, man, good lord,
Yeah,
that was a massacre.
that was an ass cutting.
Um,
Yeah,
it just seems like it's Indiana's year, and they're not going to be denied. Um, and then when I think about the quarterback position, it's just Carson Beck is just prone to have some mistakes. So we'll see, but I think Indiana will win. But I won't be sad for if it goes either way.
yeah. No, I'm not.
I'm
I
not.
wouldn't be. Wouldn't be devastated if
Yeah.
either way. I mean, um, honestly, like for recruiting reasons, Miami losing wouldn't be the worst thing in the world because
No, it'd be like Miami losing would be better for Clemson.
yeah,
Miami having a national championship in 2025 would not do well for Clemson in the state of Florida recruiting against Miami.
no,
That would not be ideal. but
no,
and Miami fans might become insufferable at that point.
yeah,
I don't know.
become insufferable.
There's,
Yeah,
there's
okay,
well, even worse than they already are. And
even worse to
they
there.
got 27 million fans on the internet.
Yeah,
So yeah,
no, but yeah, I do think like this is I think Miami poses the most interesting matchup for Indiana. I think this is the best pass rush that Indiana will have faced all year.
oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's going to be a problem. Like uh, you know, Mesidor, Ruben Bain, like big number 99 in the middle. Like there's a problem. Like it's going to be a significant challenge for Indiana. Um, but I just think they do everything well.
yeah,
And ultimately, that's a tough team to stop. When they
yeah,
can do it both ways, it's difficult. Um, I mean, Miami's going to have to get pressure. They're going to have to confuse Mesidor. They're going to have to force him into some mistakes, get off the field on third down, obviously, all that good stuff. But um, it's going to be a tall task for that Miami defense. Um, I just think Indiana's going to be too much in the end. But we'll see. We'll see.
we shall. Um, Yeah, I agree. It's tough to pick against Indiana at this point, but I do think Miami has the most unique chance, not just because of what they bring from a defensive or really just on both lines of scrimmage, and the way that Indiana likes to play, where they just kind of boa constrictor you to death until you start
Yep.
you start kind of making mistakes.
Yep.
Miami is willing to play that type of game. So like
Yes.
they're willing to just as much to 3 yards in a cloud of dust you to death, that they're willing
Right.
to be a defense line, play a defense line of scrimmage game. Styles make fights and all that. That really is kind of true in this game, and I think that potentially Miami could match up with Indiana in that regard, and make this make this a really tight one. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm
Look,
excited to
look.
watch.
I think Indiana will win, but Miami is fully capable of winning this ball game. Like, it would
Yeah.
not surprise me at all if Miami wins this game. I mean, that defensive line and Fletcher,
Oh yeah.
bro, that dude, man. I wish he
Yeah.
played for. I wish he played for Clemson.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm trying to tell you, man. That dude
he's a guaranteed 4 yards every run.
It's
Like
just
it.
crazy.
Yeah.
And he just gets stronger as the game goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And the defense just gets tired of hitting him.
Yeah.
I mean, come the fourth quarter, I mean, he's breaking off 20-yard runs like it's his job. Like, I mean, it's just like nothing. So it's yeah, it's gonna be a dogfight. I think it'll be a close game. At least I hope it is. I don't want a blowout in either direction. That would be unfortunate.
Yeah.
But yeah, we shall see. We shall see who's going to win it. But it's going to be a good game, I think.
Yeah. Absolutely.
How the Panthers and the Jaguars both lose, and they lost the exact same way too. Ugh, man.
Yep. Well,
I knew
I
both games. I was like, the Panthers go down, they score. I'm like, bro, you left too much time.
yeah.
That's Matt Stafford over there.
Mm-hmm.
That's Matt Stafford on the other sideline. He's gonna go down and score, and sure enough. And then same thing with Jacksonville. They went down and scored, and I was like, "Yep, here comes Josh Allen. Here we go. He's gonna go down and score a touchdown." Sure enough, he did. But what are you gonna do?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't feel that much sympathy for the Jaguars, no matter how. But the only thing holding me back, obviously, is T-Law and ETN. But like,
Yeah.
At the same time, I hate
Yeah.
the Jaguars, man. It really is it's miserable every year, especially with Trevor having the season he did this year, and like. It's like, man, like I just want him gone. I want him out of my division. I'm tired of it. I felt the same way when Deshaun was in Houston. I want him out of the division. Please, God, do whatever it takes. Trade him. Do something. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
When is it my turn to get a Clemson quarterback? When is it my turn? The Clemson quarterback that I've had as a Titans fan is Charlie Whitehurst. Shout out to Charlie. But like that was my Clemson quarter. That was my Clemson quarterback growing up.
Clipboard Jesus.
Clipboard Jesus.
Clipboard Jesus. That's what's
that was. Was that the Wisenhunt years? Good God. It was either the Wisenhunt years or the no, that might have been the Mike Munchak years. I can't remember which one.
I saw an interview with Charlie Whitehurst not that long ago.
Yeah. How's he doing?
He's good, man. He's like, just from the interview, like he looks like he's doing great. He doesn't work, according to him. So, I mean, he's living a pretty good life. So, he's hanging out, doing what he wants to do. So, they asked him if he's ever going to get back into football, and he left the door open. So, we'll see. Maybe Clipboard Jesus will return to football at some point in time.
Maybe. All right. I think that's going to do it for us, y'all.
Yeah.
It's getting late. Really good show. We really hit on a lot. Obviously, the additions for Clemson in the transfer portal, they've been really exciting. It feels strange to talk about it, talk about Clemson having a true portal class,
Right.
and not just like, oh man, we got 3 players. Like, it's pretty cool. I still think there's some meat left on the bone there, but I mean, at this point, can't complain too much, and you feel better about where things stand than you did a month ago, and that's progress. So, yeah, I guess we'll leave it at that. Again, shout out to the Hoops team, closing it out. They got another one. I think they play a home game against somebody. I can't remember, but really great start to league play. They're 5-0. They're undefeated in back-to-back seasons in conference play to start conference play. Just really proud of that program. And hey, shout out to the Lady Hoops team too. They are currently, I think, projected the last team into the field right now.
Hey, that's a massive improvement from where they've been for a long time. So, shout out to the Lady Tigers over there.
Yeah, Coach Poppy, he's doing some things, man.
Yeah, he's turning it around. So, definitely progress being made. So, that's a good thing. But shout out to each and every one of you. 52 still in here. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Consider subscribing. Me and Jordan do the All In Show every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Presented by FanDuel. So go check out FanDuel. Go check out the sports betting over there. Bunch of playoff games coming up. You can get some futures on the national championship, all that kind of stuff. So go check it out. Place your wagers. If you're high on Miami, do it. If you're high on Indiana, same thing. But go check out our friends over at FanDuel and thank them for sponsoring the show. But that's going to do it, guys. Until next time, I'm TPC. He's Jordan Bowman. Go Tigers.
Later, y'all.